For a few years, Shelby Stanga is unable to continue entertaining viewers on the History Channel due to this awful incident. This is now public knowledge, despite his best efforts to conceal it. What was concealed by Shelby Stanga? For the other, players in Shelby's scandal, what does this new knowledge mean? Follow along as we learn more about this tale. History. Shelby's early life and history are filled with tales about her passion for the outdoors, much like the other fascinating characters on X-Men. He was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, on January 17, 1960. Shepard grew up in the lovely town of Louisiana, thus he has a connection to the state. For him, the city is more than just his home. His mother reared him as he had no father. How he started. At the age of 16, he started working. He enjoyed trying new things, therefore he was thrilled about his first job. He didn't mind logging as a teenager. The employment made him very happy. She resided in the forest and swamp. He obviously enjoyed having adventures. He loved earning money, therefore many called him for work. They asked him to carry logs and timber back from the swamps in exchange for cash. Shelby was always willing to work hard. However, if the salary wasn't adequate, things went south. He appeared on television in the year 2000. His debut appearance was on Man vs. Wild. Shelby's disposition was excellent. Other producers took notice of him and hired him to collaborate with them and showcase his abilities. That was how Shelby's History Channel journey started. In 2008, he was hired to work as a tree cutter on the hit television program X-Men. He went on to become one of the most viewed members of the show's staff. The legend of Shelby the Swamp Man was one of the 3 spin-offs that resulted from Shelby's success on X-Men. He spent his leisure time in the woods, where he loved to live. He discovered concepts in nature and learned how to survive. He was aware that he would appear on TV shows eventually, but it came sooner than he anticipated. When the opportunity arose, Shelby seized it. After 10 seasons and 163 episodes, Shelby announced her departure from the program. This was huge news because his departure had angered the fans. Shelby informed them that the makers had not paid them what they had agreed to, but they believed it was due to health concerns. He continued working behind the scenes as a logger and avoided the limelight for a while. Without Shelby, the organizers noticed that the show was different. When the low numbers became unmanageable, Shelby was brought back in a spin-off. The return of Shelby the Swamp Man debuted in 2018. When the Swamp Man returned, fans were taken aback. When they saw him again in the wild, overcoming absurd challenges, they were ecstatic. They enjoyed watching him display his intelligence. People were constantly amazed by him. Thus, they never grew weary of him. There were rumors that he had passed away after he returned to the show. Many were shocked that Shelby had given in to the suffering of the snake and turtle. Some said that he died as a result of injuries sustained during the shooting. It created a lot of buzz, and the rumors were covered by major sites. Since they had witnessed other X-Men team members perish, true fans were terrified. They had also heard wild rumors about the stars of the concert. After viewing the entire incident, Shelby was at his breaking point. He needed to explain things to his friends. He claimed to be alive and well despite having been in an accident. Fans were happy that Shelby was in excellent form, but many were upset with the production team for generating rumors and constantly doing big stunts. Shelby wasn't the only character on the episode. Other wood companies from all throughout the nation were also displayed. They included stories from various group members each day, but Shelby's was particularly noteworthy. One of the show's most poignant moments was Shelby's lost log. After much searching, he was unable to locate his misplaced log. It didn't reach the mill. On any given day, he found a large log underwater. He pulled it out and found it to be his lost log. Because he was affable and put a lot of effort into his career, people adored him. When he appeared on the History Channel program X-Men, he initially rose to fame on television. For Shelby, however, it was more than a show. Whether the camera was on or off, she remained the same. His work as a forester remained the same. The scent of the old logs buried in the Bogue Chito marsh of Tangipahoa Parish didn't bother him. He was always ready to assist them in getting away. The logs Shelby is searching for are among the many beneficial items that the Tangipahoa River has contributed throughout its history. The creeks were heavily processed between the 1980s and 1990s, resulting in the loss of valuable minerals. They relocated down the creek to the famous Lake Pontchartrain as the ancient trees fell. In order to construct residences in New Orleans, how many trees were felled? The logs that sank and lay in the marsh were far more numerous. For a very long time, they were left alone. The age of the trees can be determined to be 3,000 years. Because they absorbed minerals from the mud, some of the logs underwent color changes. Various colors, including red, blue, purple, green, yellow, and brown, appeared in the woods. Their vibrant hues drew Shelby in. They would make good furniture, the logger thought at once. His goal was to locate them and sell them to furniture makers. Additionally, one of our customers was looking for a certain kind of log. They wanted anything that had been in the water for more than 50 years. How much do you believe it is worth? He adds 108 pounds of lead to his weights to aid in his diving. So have you ever wondered how he can leap into the sea so fast to locate the woods? I put on a hard hat and steel-toed shoes and run along the bottom of the river. Most of the logs are hidden under the mud, so I use my feet to feel it. This isn't the whole story. It's just getting ready to find the log. Shelby Stanga digs in the soft mud, about 6 to 8 feet down, until he finds it. If it's hard for him to see, he might hit a log while he's underwater, and he might lose his mask if it falls off his mouth and strikes a branch. He then hooks the log to a crane on a ship, and the crane pulls the log to shore. Finally, victory. Before he became a reality TV star, he did these things every day. Fans love how he tells stories, and he always yells, "Here we go," when they see him wearing his camouflage hunting boots. Fans of the show enjoy hearing about his underwater adventures, his wealth, and how he was ship-swamped by pirates. They love Shelby's stories about his numerous gunfights, living atop massive cypress trees, and hunting snapping turtles for celebrities. Some viewers claim that Shelby's stories aren't real, but images of him sitting in trees and holding snapping turtles seem to calm them down. He also has a nice collection of items, such as a Civil War coin, that demonstrate his underwater lifestyle, and his extensive work as a logger. That son of a... I sincerely hope that when I'm beside the river, I don't get anything on my bionas. I enjoy extracting these teeth, man. I may become a doctor someday. The series of Axemen. Members of a logging crew appeared on a reality TV program in 2008 to share their experiences and highlight the risks they encountered while traveling for work. They tented in forests and traveled to far-flung locations to complete the task at hand. There were issues, but it was also thrilling. It served as a source of income. It became their defining motion as the show progressed. The meaning of the term Axemen was never understood by many. It was the most accurate way to characterize the terrifying sights the loggers encountered throughout their daily hunt. The popular television program Real Men in Real Danger is often associated with the series. It debuted on the History Channel in the United Kingdom. After that, an odd thing happened. The title of Channel 5 on landlines was altered by those who created it. Axemen was updated with a new version. Fans were perplexed because they were already accustomed to the show and its theme. The episode was taken off the air and re-aired on History in an effort to calm the fervent fans. There was a wonderful narrative in every season. The event was more competitive and well-organized because so many logging firms participated. Fans have the opportunity to select their favorite team members during the several seasons. They enjoyed watching the logging firms struggle to survive. Additionally, the show depicted the difficulties hunters faced and their day-to-day activities. Not everything was aristocratic. On certain days, they had to contend with inclement weather, difficult terrain, and technical issues as they worked to achieve their objectives and earn money. The majority of the series focused on the work that logging companies conduct, showcasing their equipment, techniques, cooperation, and tree-cutting activities. It demonstrated the movement of logs and the processing of wood. Axemen featured a number of logging teams, including Ryguard Logging, Swampman Logging, and Shelby's. Some were specialists in heli logging, while others were responsible for removing lost logs from rivers. The employment of airplanes to clear fallen trees to make way for roadways was one of the most fascinating aspects of the program. The fact that loggers did it despite the risks demonstrated their dedication. Their expertise helped viewers recall how fantastic Axemen was as a show. Without authorization, the team was not permitted to cut down any trees. They also made an effort to preserve the environment and natural resources. In every city where they operated, they took care to abide by the regulations. Among those who advocated for the preservation of nature was Jimmy Smith. He stated in an interview that preserving the forests of the past was crucial to preserving the forests of the future. Despite his job as a logger, he was passionate about preserving trees. He and Shelby entertained the public. They made the show more dramatic and competitive. The workers' rivalry with one another was appreciated by viewers since it added intrigue to the program. They were aware that such conduct would occur on a show featuring large corporations. The program also highlighted the challenges that hunters and businesses face on a daily basis as the market shifts. A number of scams, arrests, and illegal actions by the loggers raised concerns that the reality show might be canceled. The logging techniques used on the broadcast infuriated many spectators and reviewers. The crew claimed to have complied with regulations, but their portrayal of their work infuriated some in the timber industry. Although the show demonstrated the opposite, some claim that loggers are aware of the risks and operate carefully while on the job. Actually, it revealed something quite different. Experts claim that there were numerous ways to die on the show, which damaged the reputation of the business. They strongly opposed the show's cancellation, arguing that it portrayed hunters as reckless individuals. This was not the only battle the Axemen fought. The team's actions were also criticized by several environmentalists, who claimed that they were documenting and celebrating the devastation of natural areas. They claimed that the show was prearranged because it was simple to predict what would happen next. Due to these issues, the episode finished in a depressing manner. Very sad losses. Accidents that occurred on the show claimed the lives of a few of the loggers and team members. Fans, co-workers, and their families were deeply saddened by the loss of these cast members, despite the show's negative reviews. It is believed that William Bart Colantuono was murdered, and his demise was tragic. Born in 1959, he passed away on September 7, 2013, at the age of 54. He brought something fresh to the Axemen cast. People never wanted the program to end because they loved him so much. According to the record, he was carrying logs when he perished in a helicopter crash in Lynn County. At that moment, it was established that he was deceased. Because they knew him as a talented Navy pilot who always gave it his all, fans were taken aback. He received many recommendations and compliments for his excellent heli-logging abilities, which he displayed during all of the Axemen seasons before he passed away. People were always aware of William's competitive nature. He demonstrated his ability to survive by taking risks in various circumstances. He was able to make things better. According to witnesses, he had already disconnected from the helicopter prior to the disaster and had let go of the log before crashing into the jungle. In other words, he was aware of the problem before it materialized. Rumors started when fans demanded that the authorities investigate his death as a potential murder case. Ultimately, the police concluded that everything was fine and closed the case. William appeared in a few Axemen episodes and worked for R&R Logging. The first actor to depart the show was Jimmy Frank Smith, who was recognized with an episode titled Axes and Allies. On May 3, 1956, he was born. At the age of 55, he passed away on November 1, 2012. He battled cancer for a long period before passing away. S&S Aqua Logging Company was his company. Since he was one of the best aspects of the program, many fans were in tears when he left. They were still grieving over his untimely passing. Jimmy's family and friends received an apology from the History Channel prior to his burial and memorial service in Leavenworth, Washington, on November 7, 2012. The first episode of Season 6 of Axemen was on him and how he transformed the show. He was in Season 5 of Axemen in Wenatchee, Washington, USA. It was hardly surprising that his son, James Smith, was also on Axemen. Many shows that featured characters that collaborated and grew close were viewed by the public. They collaborated, effectively, and had a close relationship as father and son. James assisted with underwater logging prior to his father's passing. Although his role remained unclear until the show's conclusion, viewers believed he would succeed his father. Jimmy had a reputation for doing what he wanted to do and not caring what other people thought. As a result, he made more enemies than friends. He was overly proud, according to many. Although James wasn't one of them, he greatly enraged his father. He and his son spent a lot of time on their backs, and he constantly experienced soreness in his throat. Jimmy and James were spotted visiting a wrath management counselor to work on themselves as the show came to a close. It wasn't just Shelby who got into trouble. There was no concrete evidence to support the claims that Jimmy and his new assistant were dating. Many claimed it was only a publicity stunt to garner views. The fact that Jimmy and Rygaard Logging were vying for contracts and the title of finest logger was also well known. Conversely, smaller companies had to contend with and compete with larger ones. Jimmy was constantly at war with Shelby and Paypack, Alaska prior to his death. He tried everything he could to demonstrate the superiority of his logging business. They all had something to prove, whatever the case. That was the focus of the show. It was a strong field, and fans kept wanting more. The death of Gabe Rygaard was the next horrible event on the show. He passed away in an automobile accident close to his home. A car approaching from the opposite direction collided with Gabe's white Ford Bronco. Gabe did not survive the crash. The other cyclists were treated on the spot and taken home. Despite wearing a seatbelt at the time of the collision, he passed away immediately. The U.S. jet crashed. The photographs taken aboard the S. The September 16th trip to Port Angeles will always be remembered. Those who knew Gabe Rygaard will never forget the fun they shared with him. He was only 45. Everyone was devastated by his passing because he played a significant role in the Rygaard Logging Company and the Axemen show. He was in charge of management and worked in the office alongside his brother after taking over the company from their father, Craig Rygaard. Despite appearing in just one season, he became a member of the Axemen family. Because he was amiable and competent, he was well liked by all team members. The second season of Axemen followed his adventure as the new owner of the Rygaard Timber Company. They demonstrated his challenges and triumphs. He had a sharp intellect and always managed to overcome difficult circumstances. Regardless of the state of the market, Rygaard always managed to keep the firm operating. He made sure the crew gave it their all because he didn't want to fire anyone. When Rygaard's father was interviewed following the death of his son, he had a lot to say. When he learned about what had happened and how his son was doing, he commented about how chilly he felt. The family suffered a great loss because Gabe managed the company and made sure everything went well. His brother, who was deeply touched by it, related the same tale of good deeds. With his brother now in control, Gabe Rygaard's family continued to operate the Rygaard Logging Company in his honor. Despite the acknowledgement of good deeds, Gabe and the other members of the Rygaard family remained controversial. Closely collaborating media groups inquired about the issues occurring behind the scenes. Was it merely for show, or was it also a part of the logging process? Many people held this opinion and found it strange. Others had assumed that Craig and Gabe Rygaard were reasonable individuals, but they were unable to ignore the continuous conflict on the show. Gabe's passing created a commotion because the brothers were never in agreement on financial matters. Their teammates, who were often arguing and engaging in unhealthy competition, were also mentioned in the reports. Nowadays, viewers want to know if there is actually so much drama in reality shows. Gabe passed away before completing any of his plans. His father and brother found it difficult to maintain the firm as a result. Those shoes seemed to be too small for anyone. The core of the business was Gabe. He ensured that everything and everyone were in good health. Due to his lack of business knowledge, any errors he made could have a negative impact on the organization. In contrast, the devoted team members who were employed by Rygaard during Gabe's lifetime decided to continue working there. They assisted him with the operations and continued the idea. Additionally, he never stopped trying to increase the company's revenue. In order for them to all have jobs, he had to locate them employment. Van Huffman's passing was another catastrophe connected to the program. It was difficult for the Papak Alaska group to locate Van Huffman's body in the woods when he vanished during one of the logging tasks. He was ultimately discovered dead. Van was well known on the History Channel and a logger on the TV program Axemen. His disappearance and eventual discovery on Sioux Island terrified many employed in the timber sector. The show also featured the scenario, the show's negative portrayal of the forestry industry and its impact on the livelihoods of people in various environments already infuriated environmentalists. They were even more distraught when he passed away, because it confirmed the rumors that were already circulating. The event did not improve the situation. Unfortunately, several of the actors that starred in the show died horribly, in addition to the show itself ending. Regarding whether or not the show will be rerun, there are still speculations and inquiries. Because of the show's conflicting reactions, the logging community is largely silent. Hazards at work. Being a logger may be risky, as Shelby Stanga is aware. He typically swims in water that is 18 to 20 feet deep, which is far from where the logs are buried. She frequently said, "Every load, I drown 3 times." He occasionally encounters wild swamp animals in the water, and he has scars from snake and snapping turtle bites. Because he consistently defends himself against the animals who harm him, Shelby, on the other hand, has demonstrated that he is just as strong as the animals. His tongue bears tooth scars from the times he had to bite the heads of venomous snakes. If you haven't seen the reality show yet, he is a terrific person to watch and adds to the fun of the show. Fans who have seen every show and film that Shelby has starred in are still enamored with her. They claim that his actions make them chuckle. A lot. He drives the large water bug and shoots the enormous gun, and I shall always remember those moments. They are aware that he is not lying to increase his audience or viewership. Shelby Stanga's comments about trees and animals in the swamp are a hit among Axemen fans. Many of his pals refer to him as the survivalist and describe him as intriguing. They find it unbelievable that he ventures into so many hazardous locations in order to obtain logs. "How much do you think I'd be worth?" About," I replied. Hey, I suppose $10,000. I'm going to do that for you." In 2014, he was accused of trespassing. Because Shelby felled a neighbor's cypress tree, there was resentment between him and his neighbors. Since the state had owned the tree since 1963, the neighbors called the police. After a day in jail on charges of unauthorized stealing, he was released. Since Shelby never discussed the incident in public, his pals believe he is innocent. Family. Have you ever considered Shelby's wife and family? The TV personality discovered someone who shared her enthusiasm for living in the woods and her level of energy. In the early 2000s, he wed Donna Stanga, and the two have remained together ever since. Many admirers adore Donna and admire her patience with Shelby, who can occasionally be obnoxious. They lead a contented and tranquil life together. They reside in a lovely home close to Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana. They don't want anyone to know that they have 2 children. Although Donna appears like a good person, she has taken travels and done things that most people would find difficult. She is constantly eager to join Shelby on camping trips and get into boats. "Oh, that tastes bad, man. You must brush your teeth if you wish to chew." Because of them, fans adored the show. Some claim that they could watch Shelby indefinitely. He must be the reason why fans are glued to their screens during Axemen's streaming sessions. It is the true way of life for many. Shelby is honest and never reads lines for his role. according to show fans who posted on other blogs. Because of this, the show is authentic and consistently makes viewers chuckle. Because they enjoyed watching him, many feel he ought to get his own reality program. What happens? Following the performance. Even though he is a well-known television personality, he is not accustomed to live a luxurious lifestyle. He doesn't want that. He would prefer to sleep in a tent and sleeping bag by a boat launch on the Tangipahoa River. Despite having a lot of money, his iPhone may be the most expensive object in his collection, because he doesn't lead a luxurious life. The only way Shelby knows how to live is the conventional way. He enjoys hunting, fishing, and felling trees. Shelby doesn't have a difficult time, despite what some people believe. He is content and feels good about his family. Many viewers of the show are curious about what's happening with Shelby and the Axemen. I'll be happy as long as I have chips and chew my lip. They want to know whether there are any upcoming plans to collaborate. While some find Shelby strange for accepting such a challenging and hazardous work, others adore him. They aspire to be like him because they appreciate his lifestyle. He is even regarded by some as the most humorous and honest person on the planet. Don't you think we need more people like him? Can you learn more about Shelby Stanga? Many of his pals have been curious about that. Fans are eager to see Shelby Swampman Stanga in person, in addition to wanting to rewatch previous Axemen episodes. Shelby's wild energy, catchy quips, and deep connection to the Louisiana swamp helped him become a huge sensation on the show. He has amassed a net worth of roughly $2 million over the years as a result of his time on television. However, money never drove him. Years have passed since the cameras stopped filming, but Shelby still excavates old logs deep in the swamp. Not for the publicity, not for financial gain, but because he truly enjoys his work. Logging isn't a job to him. They live that way. When Shelby isn't removing logs from the murky water, he may be interacting with residents or lending a hand in his neighborhood. Even though he has never desired fame, he continues to share candid moments with his fans on social media, keeping them updated on his tale. Whether he's working on his boat in the muck or cracking jokes with a neighbor, Shelby's posts demonstrate that he's still the amiable swamp man we all come to respect. Since her TV fame ended, Shelby has opted for a more subdued, significant existence. The lack of news about a new show or a major comeback doesn't bother him. His favorite spots are in the woods, on the river, and with the people he cares about. For those who truly know Shelby, that narrative is also worth seeing. What are your thoughts on Stanga? Why, in your opinion, is he struggling so badly on the show? Do you think he'll appear on another television program? In the box below, type your thoughts. Thank you for viewing. If you enjoyed this film, kindly like and subscribe to this channel. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.